for this recipe, you are going to need some shredded chicken, chopped lettuce, mayonnaise, Worcestershire sauce, and coriander. Now I'm using my own Headbangers Kitchen homemade mayonnaise. And if you want that recipe, click on the I button on the top left hand corner of the screen and get it. Or you can look in the video description box just below this video. Now you can either buy shredded chicken or you can make it at home. Just take a couple of chicken breasts, season them with some salt and pepper on both sides, don't forget that. Then just get your pan on the stove, heat up some olive oil or any keto approved cooking fat, and then lay down those breasts in the pan. Now all you gotta do is cook them. Since we're shredding the meat and using it in the salad, it's okay if it's a tad overcooked. It's not an issue, so just let those breasts cook on the stove on a lowish heat and keep turning them every once in a while, and once they are done, remove them from the pan. And then just get 2 forks and shred that chicken. And if you have no idea how to chop lettuce, here is a quick demonstration. Now to make the salad, you want to get a big salad bowl. You want to throw in the lettuce, then throw in the chicken, then get that mayo added into the pate, throw in that Worcestershire sauce, then break up that coriander roughly with your hands like you're breaking up a bad bar fight. But if you don't go to shady bars, you can always just chop it finely. And then we're going to add in some freshly cracked black pepper. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. Say it with me, give it all a good mix. And of course you can use different kinds of lettuce, you can use some other vegetables if you like, you can basically do whatever you want. Make this salad your own. Anyway, once that's done, there's nothing left to do but to serve yourself some of that salad. And that's it, your chicken salad is ready. And it looks appetizing, doesn't it? Anyway, that's my chicken salad inspired by a chicken Junglee sandwich, and it's done and ready. Alright, so we're going to start our salad by making the dressing, and for that we're going to need 1 clove of garlic that has been minced. To that I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of soya sauce. Try and find one that has got less carbs in it, but it's just a teaspoon so it won't kill you. 1 teaspoon of vinegar, a squirt or 2 of fish sauce, a squeeze of lime juice, a whole tablespoon of peanut butter. You want the stuff that doesn't have any sugar in it, and a tablespoon of olive oil, and give that all a good mix. Now taste your dressing for seasoning. At this point I thought I would add some extra olive oil in as well, so another tablespoon of olive oil just to up the fat content. And I checked it for seasoning and I added some salt, some pepper, and 2 drops of stevia, and give it all a good mix. Now I'm just going to prep our mushrooms, and when you're using enoki mushrooms, just cut off the end part of it and separate the mushrooms. Then I'm going to give it a quick rinse under the tap in a colander so that the water can drain out, and our mushrooms are ready. Now I'm going to take a fillet of beef. You can also use skirt steak, hanger steak, any steak that you like. I get tenderloin in India, so I'm using that, and I'm going to cut it into nice even strips. Once the beef has been cut, I'm going to season it with some salt and some curry powder, and then give it all a good mix. Now I'm going to heat up my pan on the stove, and once the pan gets nice and hot, I'm going to add in some oil, and then it's time to fry the beef. Now I don't want to crowd the pan, so I'm going to fry the beef in 2 batches. So this is the first batch that I'm frying. Make sure you turn the beef once it gets a nice color on it. I'm still not totally comfortable with the stainless steel pan. I still kind of prefer a non-stick pan, but you know what? You gotta practice and you gotta get better. Anyway, once the first batch of beef has been cooked, I'm going to remove it from the pan. And then I'm going to fry the second batch. So put in the beef, let it cook for a bit, and once you think it's done, flip it over, mix it all up, make sure you get a good color on that beef, and then remove it from the pan. Now in that same pan, I'm going to add almost a tablespoon of butter. And once the butter has melted, I'm going to add in my mushrooms and I'm going to stir fry them. Now I'm going to season the mushrooms with a bit of salt. Now you just want to cook the mushrooms down and you want to sort of deglaze the pan with the mushrooms so that they catch all that fond that's on the bottom of the pan. So when you cook meat, the brown residual stuff, that's called the fond, and we want to sort of remove that and just flavor the mushrooms with that. Anyway, once the mushrooms have cooked and softened, I'm also going to throw in the resting juices from the beef. Never waste that stuff. Give it all a good mix and cook it till the mushrooms are almost dry, and then just turn off the heat and your mushrooms are ready. Now to assemble the salad, I'm just going to take some mixed lettuce. This is just some store-bought stuff. You can use any kind of lettuce you like. Then I'm going to add in the beef. Oh yeah. And if there are any more resting juices, pour them over. And then in go my mushrooms. Oh yeah. They look like noodles almost. If there are any pan juices left, pour those in as well. And finally, I'm going to finish it off with some fresh coriander, just for a little bit of herbiness. And our salad is ready and it looks delicious. Oh man, that looks so good. And you know what? No more teasing. It's time to pour the dressing over the salad. Oh yeah. And give it all a good mix. And there it is, guys, our keto beef salad with an Asian twist. Done and dusted. Well, not really dusted, but it's about to be eaten. So for my version of the caprese, we are going to be using a cheese called bocconcini, which is basically like a bite-sized buffalo mozzarella ball. And bocconcini is really delicious, but if you can't find it where you live, you can always just use fresh buffalo mozzarella. So I'm just going to take my bocconcini and I'm going to slice it into two halves. So cut it right down the middle. This is just going to make the salad much easier to eat and way more presentable. So cut that cheese and set it aside. Now instead of regular tomatoes, I'm using cherry tomatoes for this recipe. But once again, if you can't find cherry tomatoes, you can just use a regular tomato, no problem. So I'm going to cut the cherry tomatoes as well, just right down the middle into two halves. So the bocconcini and the tomatoes pretty much look the same, except one is white and one is red. Anyway, enough jibber jabber. Let's get on to the basil that we're going to be using. This is pretty much standard Italian basil, and what I'm going to do is put the leaves one on top of each other. Then I'm going to roll them up and I'm going to slice them. I picked up this way of cutting it from Gordon Ramsay. Anyway, now it's time to make the salad dressing. So for the salad dressing, I'm going to use about a tablespoon of good quality extra virgin olive oil. To that, I'm going to add a splash or two of balsamic vinegar, and I'm going to season it with some salt. And then I'm going to give it all a good mix, and the vinegar and the olive oil is going to emulsify, and that's your dressing. Pretty simple, isn't it? Now into the salad dressing go my cherry tomatoes, and I'm going to give them all a good mix so they are well coated. And then once I've done that, in goes the bocconcini, and of course you give it one more good mix. And then I'm going to transfer it to a serving dish, because I'm going to be taking pictures of this dish. And then I'm going to sprinkle the chopped basil on top, because well, it has to look beautiful for the photographs. Otherwise I would have just mixed it all together in that very same bowl and eaten it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's how simple it is to make this salad, and your caprese is ready. So we're going to start by chopping up our chorizo into little cubes. And then we're just gonna fry this, and you don't need to put any oil in the pan. Just start the chorizo on a cold pan and it will release all its wonderful oils and get nice and crispy. Once the chorizo is fried and crispy, just remove it on a plate and set it aside. So to make the feta dressing, we're going to start with some feta cheese, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and some cracked pepper. And then we're just going to blitz this in our blender. Now check the consistency. If it's not runny enough, add 2 more tablespoons of olive oil. Give that another whisk in the mixie. You can even add a little bit of water if you would like to make it a little thinner, and just let this whisk for a bit, and you will find out that it turns almost into a mayonnaise of sorts. So this is like a feta mayo, and oh my god, that's going to be delicious. And now it's time to get on to our squid, and we're going to cut the squid in the middle, and then we're going to make nice long noodles out of it. I'm using the fins as well because, like I said earlier, I don't like wasting any part of the squid, and the tentacles are missing because I guess I used them in last time's episode. Now to fry our squid, we're going to put some olive oil in our pan and a little bit of butter and get that all nice and melted. Throw in a chopped clove or 2 of garlic, and once you see that the garlic is starting to brown, you're going to add in your squid. Now this will only take 2 minutes, so once the squid starts cooking, we're going to add in a spoonful of pesto. Now this is just store-bought pesto, but this one doesn't have any Parmesan cheese in it, nor does it have pine nuts. So add in a spoon of that, mix it around well, turn the gas off, and then finish it off by grating some fresh Parmesan cheese on it. Now it's time to assemble the salad. And I'm going to use a nice salad bowl for this, which I just purchased. I'm going to add some mixed lettuce to that. Then we top it with our dressing. Now you can see that's a nice thick mayo-like dressing almost. So you don't add too much, it's quite rich and quite creamy. Then we're going to sprinkle on some of that fried chorizo. Give that all a good mix because you want all the leaves to be coated with that delicious mayo. Then we top it with our calamari, and oh my god, look at that. Make sure you get all that olive oil, butter, everything that is in that pan on top of this. Then we grate some Parmesan cheese over that, just a little for garnish, and throw some of that fried chorizo on top as well. And my friends, there you have it. And there is our delicious pesto calamari noodles or spaghettis or whatever you want to call them, with that delicious fried chorizo and feta mayo in a salad. Just mix lettuce. So simple, so delicious. Cucumber, tomato, onion and green bell peppers are the vegetables that go into a Greek salad. But you can, as always, feel free to add things like lettuce or any other vegetables that you enjoy. Fresh oregano is the herb normally used in a Greek salad, but since I didn't have any oregano but I did have lots of time, I decided to use that instead. Kalamata olives are one of the pillars of a Greek salad, and I'm using the pitted olives, which means that the seed has been removed. Now if you can't get these, you are free to use green or black olives. If you don't have olives, use capers instead. And of course, no Greek salad is complete without some feta cheese. You can use any cheese you like, but then I would suggest just calling it a salad and not a Greek salad. We're going to start by prepping our vegetables, and while ideally you want those big green Greek cucumbers, I'll have to make do with these Indian cucumbers. So I peel the skin off, which is optional if you know where your cucumber has been, but since I have no idea where mine has been, I will peel the skin off. Anyway, split your cucumber in half and then cut it into nice, thick half moons. Greek salad vegetables are generally chunky. I take those cucumbers and add them to my salad bowl. On to my cherry tomatoes, and I'm just going to cut them down the middle into halves. And you can also use regular tomatoes, cut them into big chunks or wedges. I like these, so I'm using them. Once chopped, add them to the bowl so that they can say hello to the cucumbers. On to the red onion, and I'm just going to slice these into half moons. This is a rather small onion, and some people find the taste or the flavor of raw onions rather strong, so I've got a little tip for you in that case. Once you finish chopping the onions, just put them in a bowl of water and let it sit for about 5 minutes. This will take some of that raw edge off the onions. Our final vegetable is the green bell pepper, and I'm just gonna chop that up into little squares. You can also slice it if you like, no problem. And feel free to use other colored bell peppers if you like, but I do believe the green one is the authentic one. Anyway, once it's all chopped up, add it to your bowl so that it can meet and greet the other vegetables. Now to make the dressing, I take a bowl and I add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Ideally, you want to use Greek extra virgin olive oil, but look, any good quality olive oil will do the job. To that, I add 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar, and trust me, you want to use red wine vinegar. But of course, if you can't find it, you can use lemon juice or lime juice instead. Then I add in my fresh thyme. And like I said before, oregano is normally used, but if you don't have it, thyme or even basil will work just as well, and you can use fresh or dried herbs, no problem. Then I add in some black pepper and some salt. Give that all a good mix till everything is emulsified, and your dressing for the salad is done and ready. Time to take those onions out of the water and introduce them to their new friends. Hello onion, say hi to cucumber, cherry tomato and green bell peppers. Now that the formalities are out of the way, just pour that dressing right on those vegetables. They probably think they are at a rain dance party, but little do they know they are about to be eaten alive. Of course, you must give them all a good toss before they gracefully lay down their lives to feed me. I get my serving plate and I serve myself some of that salad. But I was told that you're not supposed to actually mix a Greek salad before serving. You serve it and then mix it. But I'll take my chance angering the Greek gods. Now it's time to add the olives to our salad, and I was told that you never slice or cut the olives, you serve them whole. But since the olive police isn't at your house, feel free to slice them up if you like. I'm being watched though, so I won't. And you're also just supposed to top the salad with a big piece of feta, but I'm going to be a badass and crumble my feta all over. It's called breaking the law. Breaking the law, breaking the law, pow, pow. Breaking the law, breaking the law, pow, pow. And finally, I sprinkle on a little more fresh thyme. But normally you would put dried oregano, but hey, this is all I got. And that's it folks, our super simple and easy Greek salad is ready. Honestly, that looks so refreshing and delicious, I just can't wait to dig in. So the first thing I'm going to do is prepare the chicken, and I'm using 2 boneless and skinless chicken thighs. I'm just going to cover the chicken with some cling film, and then with the flat end of a meat mallet, just bash it out. Now the reason I'm doing this is so that it helps the chicken to cook evenly. However, this is an optional step, you don't need to do this. Also, if you can't get chicken thighs, you can do this with chicken breast, and alternatively you can also use chicken thigh with the skin on, no problem. Anyway, once I've beaten that chicken, it's time to season it. And I'm going to be seasoning it with some salt, some black pepper and some curry powder. Now I'm just using a generic curry powder that I picked up in Bangkok. And if you can't find curry powder where you live, you can also use paprika, cayenne pepper or even some cumin powder. Once you're done seasoning the chicken on one side, flip it over and then season it on the other. And once our chicken has been seasoned, it's time to get cooking. So I'm going to get my non-stick pan on the stove and I'm going to heat up some avocado oil. And once that avocado oil is nice and hot, I'm going to put my chicken thighs into the pan. Now because these are boneless and skinless chicken thighs, they won't actually take very long to cook. About 3 to 4 minutes on each side will do the job. Anyway, just let that chicken cook, and if you look at the sides of the chicken, you will see the color start to turn white. That means it's cooking all the way through. And now I'm gonna flip them over. And oh yeah, just look at that chicken. It looks delicious. Look at that beautiful golden crust on the chicken. I could eat it right now, but I won't. Anyway, like I said, this doesn't take very long, 3 to 4 minutes on each side, and well, our chicken thighs are ready. So I'm just going to take them out and put them on a plate and let them rest, because they've had a hard day, you know. Anyway, now on to making the dressing for our salad, and I'm going to start with a full tablespoon of peanut butter, all natural, no sugar added. To that, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of water, and then I'm going to microwave it for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to give it all a good whisk, and basically what we're doing is we're thinning out the peanut butter here. So once that's been done and you've got a nice thin and runny peanut butter, we are going to now add the next thing in. So in goes a nice big squeeze of some lemon juice. You can also use lime juice, no problem. Then I'm going to add a little bit of soya sauce. You can also use coconut aminos if you don't want to use soya sauce. Either one of them is fine. About a teaspoon. I'm also going to throw in about a tablespoon of olive oil. Next, I'm going to season this with some salt and some black pepper and the resting juices from the chicken. And I'm going to give it all a good whisk. And that's it. Our salad dressing is pretty much ready. Oh, but wait a minute, I forgot to add a little bit of stevia for a little bit of sweetness. And I give it a final good mix, and our salad dressing is ready. And before I assemble the salad, I want to chop up that chicken, and I'm going to cut nice big pieces. If you want, however, you can chop it up into smaller pieces, no problem. And that chicken looks absolutely spectacular. I mean, you could just eat it on your own, but don't eat it with the salad since we're going through all the trouble. Now to assemble the salad, I'm just going to get a plate and put in my greens. So I've just purchased like a ready salad mix from the supermarket. I'm pretty sure you can get this anywhere. Otherwise, you can just get some lettuce, maybe a little bit of baby spinach, maybe some shredded cabbage, and make your own salad mix. So anyway, I'm going to pour the dressing over that mixed salad of mine, and you can see mine has some cherry tomatoes as well. Once I've poured the dressing over, I'm going to sprinkle over some white sesame seeds for a little bit of crunch, and also some black sesame seeds. And then on goes the star of the show, our chicken. And finally, I'm going to finish it with a little bit of fresh coriander, or as some of you know it, cilantro. And ladies and gentlemen, your chicken salad is ready.